And next up in the track walks, the very fast, very fun Red Bull Ring in Austria. So this will be a pretty short one. It's a pretty simple track, maybe the simplest one in the whole game, honestly. And just part because the first three turns really have very similar markings. This section has a pretty fun little flow to it, so I'll try to do a quick talk you through this one as well, and I'll do a few frame by frames as well, just as my normal pieces, but this should be a pretty quick track walk. So we're going down to turn one. Watch out for your overtake and everything here. You're looking for the 100 board, and then you're going to turn just after 50. So 100 turn after 50. Beware track limits. Talk about that later. Going up the hill, we're going to use very, very similar markings again. We're going to go to the 100. We're going to brake, but we're going to turn very, very late. There's also a caution light you can use. There again, you brake it to 100. Nice late turn in, gently on the power. And now we'll just head down to what I call turn 3. But again, we're going to go to the 100 just before the bridge. Hard brake. Turn right at the end of the curb. Pull it in nice and tight. Hold it a little longer than you think. Open the wheel up fast when you do. This time we're going to, next room is go past the 50s. Past 50, brush and bend. Not much brake. Bend, hold it in tight. Then you use the access road ahead. Turn at the access road. You can get on the gray. On the gas, wide open throttle. Careful to not let that curb suck you around. And this time again, we're going to go past the 50, brush and bend. Brush, turn in real quick, down the hill, and that's really all there is to this track. It's just about finding a really quick, really fun rhythm that works for you.
All right, let's get to Austria. Try to do this pretty quickly. These first three corners are going to be very, very similar. Again, this is just a screenshot like I said a moment ago. You brake right at the 100 and the caution lights, but each one of these turns has a little bit of a different nuance in terms of when and how you turn. So I turn just past the 50 and try to follow this arc. Now, if you're on regular corner cutting stringency, then you can even go like as long as you have four tires remotely touching the red and white curb, you're fine. You can cut and use the green stuff as I mentioned here. If you're on strict, this is as tight as you can take this turn. And this is actually a little bit of a mistake because I really shouldn't be on that yellow curb. It kind of pops the car up in the air a little bit, and you'll see what I mean as you drive here. But you definitely want to try to put your two tires over on this red and white. And I didn't got to get a good screen capture of me doing that. Now coming out to the exit, now here's a spot you either want to be right where I'm at, or you just want to take the car all the way out onto this red and then bring it back in. Because this little yellow strip curb right here will totally jack your day up. It will spin your car out. It will throw you in the air. It will just mess you up. But if you commit and kind of cross it real fast, it doesn't seem to mess with you. But if you end up with two tires on it, it is a bad thing. And 4 over, you can sometimes get away with and straddle that curb and run sometimes. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get a warning. Use them appropriately. You go up the hill, left side of the track, 100 and a caution light, brake hard. And you're going to brake, or you're going to turn very, very deep here. This is actually deeper than it looks when you're driving, just as fast as you're still going. I mean, you're still going 75 miles an hour into one of the tightest turns in the game. And it's very, very crucial that you get your car placement and your turn in right. Actually, a really nice late turn in here that allows you to do a very quick turn sharp and then turn straight as you get down this straightaway will really give you a nice launch into a DRS zone. I will end up turning a little bit sharper yet and then straightening up as quick as I can to get level with that curb ahead. Now, you don't want to get on that yellow. This is about perfect car placement, honestly. Use that red and white curb. And then this is much like turn 1. Don't get on this. And they really don't even go outside. Whereas in turn 1, if you were on regular stringency, you could go out there. You don't want to do that at all here because you are going to run out of track in a hurry. And your aim is to make sure your steering wheel is straight before you come to the end of this curving, because if you're on DRS, there's a DRS right there. And if you still are trying to straighten the wheel out by the time you get to DRS, you are going to be in trouble. Coming down the next hill, again, look at this. It's just getting repetitive. Brake at the 100. This one's a little bit quirky as it's downhill. And I kind of develop a rhythm to turn when it feels right. I'm trying to look around the corner and keep the car parallel with this white verge line. Try the gray stuff. It's delicious. Now, if you can't get on this, if you miss it, it's okay. But you want to at least be hugging the verge line or even on the red and white curbs. I don't get on this every time. Sometimes I turn and miss, and I just make a little note to brake a little harder or turn a little earlier next lap. The gray curb is totally usable, and you don't really need to worry about hugging it too long. The car is working on going out on its own anyway at this point if you're fast enough. And this is actually the one time I say don't really use the exit curbing. Just it seemed like every time I end up out there, I end up getting screwed up and end up slower. It seems like it's worth it to be about right here, and already looking through these words and looking around that next corner, you never really get the wheel straight. And this time I brake and bend at the same time just past 50. And I just kind of have a timing, and when it feels right as I go by 50, you might want to try to use that orange mark in the guardrail as well. As we make the left turn, we want to be pulling the car into this rail. And notice it's a lot of wheel. I mean, I'm turning 90 degrees left. On this particular lap, I got on the red and white curb. It seems like if you get on the green, it's just a little bit too much. And tries to suck the car around. But getting on the red and white is good. I don't think that's necessarily important, but I do think you want to be at least getting as close to that verge line as you can, and you actually want to keep it kind of wrapping around this curb until you're able to see the straightaway, at which time you want to put at least 2 tires on the red and white curb. If you're strict corner cutting stringency, you'll need to stay here. In reality, though, F1 lets them have this whole curb on the 2 races we had here in 2020. So if you're on regular corner cutting stringency, by all means, 4 tires on this curb. You do have to be careful, though. There is a spot out here somewhere that will like throw your car in the air. At least it was in 2019. And as you come down this curb, you probably have to brake just momentarily before you turn. And you want to use like the end of this curb as your braking index, but about halfway down this short course re-entry is where you want to turn into the next turn. I didn't quite get to the gray stuff, but if I had, it would have been better. You want to at least have tires on the verge line or on the curbs. You want to be holding this as tight as you can, and the reason you want to be as tight as you can and even up on that gray curb is because it's going to let you get the wheel straighter sooner and be wide open throttle and staying, as I'm already wide open throttle, but staying wide open throttle around this next right bend. And your eyes are looking for that next curb. And again, if you're a regular corner cutting stringency person, 4 tires on this curb and even running over those little things don't seem to bother it too much. If you're 2 tires, if you're strict corner cutting stringency, you need 2 tires on the pavement, and this curb, for whatever reason, likes to pull you onto it. And like I said, if you're regular corner cutting stringency, just let it. If you're not, you may have to kind of work the wheel to stay off of it. So again, as you crest the hill, as soon as you crest that uphill that we were looking at a moment ago, there's a 150, 150, and I do a brush bend either at or just after, depending on fuel load, tire compound, how much aero I'm using this race. So it's just a quick brush bend and a downshift. And if you can get on the gray, great. This is a turn you're going to have to work on with turning a little earlier, maybe at the 50 instead of just after the 50, or then maybe you change tires and you have to turn a little later. But it's really, really tricky here because you'll either be 5 meters wide or you'll accidentally cut this corner. And you really want to I would say aim for 2 tires on this, because aiming to be on the gray is going to make you a lot more likely to cut the corner if you're a strict corner cutting person. And then you just track out. You want to at least put 2 tires on the red and white. And if you're regular, you can go 4 over on this thing again. And I'm braking, and I put my words in a bad spot. I should have left it where you can see that curb ahead. I just brake when it feels right. About time I get almost revved up in 7th gear all the way is about where I'm going to brake probably. Maybe, or just it's kind of a sound, a feel, and a look I'm looking for. It's also kind of a timing. Once I've had the gas down coming off the corner for a second, it's just a rhythm, and it feels and it looks right when I brake. And you're going to have to develop that rhythm. And then coming into this last turn, this is a spot that if you're regular corner cutting, you would really want to put your right side tires on this gray and straddle that curb. If you put your right side tires on that curb, it throws the car up in the air a little bit, and it slows you down, and it makes you end up having to use a lot of this Austria flag painted deal out here that you have to use as runoff. But everybody, regular or whatever, corner cutting can benefit as well from putting 2 tires on that red and white curb, as it will really let you open up and get a better run down this next straightaway. On this particular run, I didn't quite go fast enough through the last turn, didn't quite need all the runoff. And if you're a regular corner cutting stringency, 4 on the curbs again. If you're strict, I would aim to just kind of get a lot out of it, but maybe not quite. Just maybe use the red and white curb again. And that's really all there is to Österreich. Now I'll give you a uninterrupted lap. Thank you for watching. Give me a like. I was not very well liked as a child, so please leave me a like now.
Okay, super job so far. We're getting great data. Stay focused. Okay, test